All right. We're live, folks. How you doing? Chuck Holton here, and I am in Lithuania today on the border with Belarusia. And the reason that I'm here is because they're having a tremendous amount of problems with illegal immigration. And so we're learning more about that by going out with the Lithuanian Border Police, who are right here behind me, right there. So this is a beautiful sunset. It's an incredible sunset. I'm not as sunburned as I look. It's just that the sun is so red. But right back behind me over there, that's the border with Belarusia. Those trees. And actually the border is right here, very close. I don't know if you can see that white post right there. Those posts are the border posts between Lithuania and Belarusia. And why are they having a big problem? Well, here's what's going on. Belarusia, as you may know, is a dictatorship. It's kind of like a little European North Korea. It's run by, I think it's Nicholas Lukashenko, and this guy's been in power for a long time. He's a terrible dictator. They've had a lot of problems with the rest of Europe. They're a very closed off society, and they, I think, hijacked an airliner the other day, took it down inside Belarusia so that they could take somebody off the plane that they wanted to catch. And if I'm doing the Macarena out here, it's because these bugs are eating me alive. The bugs out here are absolutely astounding, unbelievable. So the Belarusians have not played nice with the rest of Europe, and especially the European Union. So the EU has placed sanctions on Lukashenko, and by doing that, they angered Lukashenko, and so he said, fine, we're going to open the floodgates and we're going to punish you by sending migrants your way. And so they're seeing, now this is a very small country. Lithuania is only about 2.3 million people. Very small country. I'm gonna walk down here and come back. Very small country. Look at that sunset back there. Wow. So very small country and not a lot in the way of resources. It's a very nice country. It looks like Wisconsin to me, doesn't it? Look at that. Just like expect cheese curds to show up anytime. So with it being such a small country, and they've always had some migrants coming through, but we're talking like 40 or 50 a year, something like that. Not very many at all. And now they're seeing over 100 every day sometimes. And you can imagine that's putting a tremendous strain. They don't have the infrastructure to handle this many migrants. They just can't handle it. And so we went to one of the migrant refugee centers today where they put them. There's only 2 in the whole country. They only have the capacity for, I would say, probably about 500 people total. And so if you've got 100 people every day coming in, that's pretty, that's going to overwhelm you really fast. So we went to that center. We interviewed the lady in charge of it. She told us a little bit about, what it's been like for them. One of the things she said that I will show you in upcoming hot zones is that many of these people are coming. They're coming from primarily Iraq or Kurdistan, northern Iraq. And just recently, they've seen a bunch from Africa, which is very strange for them. This is a little bit different routing. I asked one of the refugees there from Iraq how he chose this route, if he had other choices. He said, oh yeah, there's Facebook posts or Facebook pages for all the different, we would call them coyotes or smugglers, advertising their services. And so you can just pick which one you want to go by. And so they picked an easy routing, which took them from Erbil to Turkey. And then they got in a truck, he said, and they drove up probably through Greece. I mean, they would have had to either go through Greece or Bulgaria. Maybe they went up through Bulgaria. He really didn't know. He said, I was in a dump truck. So they were kind of hidden. This is all part of the fee that they paid to the smugglers. Drove them all the way up into, it was a long drive. It took days, into Belarus, sorry. And then actually trucked them up to the border and set them loose on the border where they could just run right across. I'm going to see if I can turn around. You can probably better see. Okay, so right there is that's the Lithuanian side, and over there, that's the Belarusian side. And there's a little ditch in between, and that's the national border. That's all that it takes to cross it. There's no fence, there's no barrier. If you look, I don't know if you can see that or not, but over back there, let's see, just off there is a guard tower, and that's on the Belarusian side. So there's this big wide open field here, no fence, no nothing, and so the migrants the Belarusia is actually bringing them up to the border in trucks, we're told, dropping them off and sending them across on purpose to create a crisis here in Lithuania. This is something very common. We see this a lot, the weaponization of migrants, weaponizing human beings and their suffering to hurt your opponents or to gain some sort of concessions from the receiving countries. So we just came from Morocco 2 days ago. We saw this happening between Morocco and Spain, where Morocco is saying, oh yeah, you're not going to give us what we want? Well, guess what? We're going to open the floodgates. And they had 9,000 migrants from Africa flood into the Spanish city of Ceuta in one day a couple weeks ago. That's kind of bad. Ceuta is a city of 80,000 people, 88,000 people. So, I mean, you imagine the population of your town growing by 10% overnight. Boom, just like that. And those people were rampaging through the streets, breaking windows, screaming and yelling all night long. It really terrified the people of Ceuta. So we're going to have a story about that coming up. But here in Lithuania, the people are pretty upset as well because, number one, this is costly. Number two, we spoke with the foreign minister this morning of this country, and he made it clear to us. He said, it would be very easy for us because these people don't want to stay in Lithuania. And why don't they want to stay? I mean, it's beautiful. It's obviously safe here. Why don't they want to stay in Lithuania? Because Germany will give them more money. Because they can get more money, they can get more in the way of social programs in some of the wealthier, larger EU countries rather than these poorer, smaller EU countries. But it's all the EU. And so once they get into Lithuania, they're almost home free. But Lithuania has decided we're going to do the hard thing and we're going to keep them here. We're not going to let them continue to travel from here into Germany because we recognize that if we do that, if we let them just continue their journey, then that just means more will come. They will call back to Congo, they'll call back to Iraq and Syria, and the flood will only increase. So we have to bite the bullet. We have to stop these people right here where they are. They're all coming in on an asylum claim, just like we've seen in Mexico and everywhere else. They're all making asylum claims, but he said virtually none of them qualify for asylum. They're all coming as economic migrants. They at the center we went to today, they have a class that teaches Lithuanian to anybody who actually qualifies for asylum. They can go to this class to learn Lithuanian, and they had literally one Belarusian guy in the class. Out of the hundreds of migrants that are there, only one of them qualified for asylum so far. And that's because, if you think about it, Iraq sounds like a bad place to be from, or a good place to be from, a bad place to live. But northern Iraq, where most of these people are coming from, which is also known as Kurdistan, that's not a bad place to live. I've been there. I would take my family to Kurdistan tomorrow on vacation. I mean, it's beautiful, it's safe, it's progressive, it's modern, it's relatively wealthy for that area. The Kurdish government is not persecuting its people. It's not a dictatorship. I talked to one migrant today, and he was from there, and I said, "Why did you leave?" And he said, "Well, because the law only applies to certain people and not to everyone." And I'm like, well, it's kind of like that in the United States of America too right now, and we're not real happy with that. But if that was a reason to go apply for asylum, there'd be a lot of people from America applying for asylum too. So that is not an asylum claim. Saying that I can't get justice in my country is not, that doesn't meet the bar. Saying that I can't find a job in my country, that doesn't meet the bar. Saying that I'm being I'm living in a neighborhood that's full of crime, does not meet the bar. Go to some other neighborhood. These people, if they came from Iraq, then they passed through Iraq and Turkey and then either Greece or I was just there, not Belarusian, Greece or Bulgaria. And then on up, there's, Macedonia and Serbia and Slovenia. And I mean, you got to come all the way up the Balkan states and in order to get to Lithuania. So none of those guys are going to qualify for asylum because you've already crossed through a bunch of safe countries that are not persecuting you to get to this country. So it's obvious you're here for economic reasons. And if you're here for economic reasons, that's not a qualification to let you in, illegally especially. There is a process if you want to move to Lithuania, and they're actually pretty friendly. They're pretty nice about that process, and they actually welcome people in, for example, from Hong Kong, who want to have a better life. But there's a process. You have to go through that process to legally get here. And so, riding on a truck illegally up here through all these countries and then jumping the fence and running across into Lithuania just to get a better job is not an excuse for asylum. And it's not an excuse in the United States when they do that either. So keep that in mind. I mean, this lie that all it's going to take to fix these people's problems is $15 an hour. All it's going to take to fix these people's problems is the good old US of A. That's the only place in the world where people can live and make a good life. That's a lie. America is the greatest country on earth, sure. I believe that. But there are lots and lots of places in the world where a migrant can go and build a good life. He doesn't have to go to the United States. He doesn't have to go to the European Union. Those just happen to be the countries who offer the best benefits. A migrant in Morocco told us the other day the reason he wanted to go to Europe was because he's from Algeria. And he said the reason I want to go to Europe to the EU is because they will give me $1,500 a month. That's insane. $1,500 a month for a guy that's used to making $1 a day. That's like winning the lottery. And he said, not only that, they'll give me a free apartment. And I only have to live with 3 other people. Like, that's unheard of for a guy like him. He said, my dad's Muslim. He had 3 wives. I grew up with 17 siblings. And so Europe is offering me an apartment and I only have to share it with 3 other people. This is unbelievable. So you can't blame a guy like that. If somebody, I say it all the time, if somebody's handing out cookies, don't fault me for getting in line. So this sign behind me, I just noticed this sign. It says stop, and then it says something is something zone, state border protection zone. It says it in English, in Lithuanian, in Russian, and probably just those 3. And it says enter only upon authorization by State Border Guard Service. So I need to take a picture of that. So anyway, thanks for watching. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to see this great sunset and to see a little bit what it looks like on the Lithuanian border with Belarusia, because I'm sure you were wondering. You probably sit around all the time going, what does the border of Lithuania look like anyway? Well, now you know. There it is, right behind me. Thanks for watching the Hot Zone, folks. We got more coming. It's been a long trip, and I've actually got two more countries. Tomorrow we're going to Latvia and Estonia, and then I'll fly out early and go back to Greece and spend another day in Greece before I head back home. So a few long miles to go before I sleep, and thanks for being a part of it. We're trying to do our best to get the word out. Follow Michael Yon if you get a chance. He's traveling with me. You can go to Michael Yon. I think it's .locals.com, or maybe the other way around, locals.com/Michael Yon. My Locals account is locals.com/Chuck Holton, and you can support my work there if you like. And if it'd be great if you'd share and all that, help this place grow. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you. Take care.